Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. I hope today finds you well. It is Wednesday. Celtic do play tonight. It's Wednesday the 9th of October and it's a fantastic day here. It is a fantastic day here. The weather's nice and sunny and I'm off out with my daughter in just about half an hour's time, so we don't have long today, but there's lots of Celtic news to get through this morning, which is absolutely fantastic. And let's say hi to everyone in the comments beforehand, as we always do on the One Celtic Fans View. Dave Hislop was first up, morning Baz, and Troops. Tam Mack was in the house. Jim F was in the house, saying good morning to Tam and Dave. And that's it in the chat. Tam Mack's in the house also. Did I say Tam? Yeah, we did. The chat's a bit quiet, but it's okay. It's fine. There's big Celtic news when it comes to the Champions League. We'll get started with the Champions League first of all before we go to the TV deal. Yesterday, Young Boys, the team that Celtic play in the Champions League, sacked their manager. Yes, they sacked their manager after he won one game in 9 in his domestic league. Yeah, he only won one game in 9. So the Young Boys manager has been sacked. What does that mean for Celtic? Well, they're going to get in a new guy, and they might get an initial bounce. But I think when it comes to the Champions League form, I think that they're pretty much done and dusted this season. I mean, I know that we're only 2 games in, but they're really struggling way down the bottom of the Champions League. And Celtic have got their own agenda, and they'll be wanting to make sure that we punish them as much as possible. Celtic are at home to Young Boys in January 22nd it is. So there's a lot of football to be played between now and then, and you never know, their form might change slightly, but the interim coach is the under-21 coach that they've got in charge. So we just need to wait and see. Hopefully they don't get that good a bounce. You can't see a team. It never really happens, does it? When a team sacks a manager and they bring a new one in, they don't get that great a bounce that they go on to be Champions League stars, do they? Anyway, Kevin's in the house, Grab Boy's in the house, Desmond Donnelly's in the house, Jim Hunter's in the house also, and Stephen Carlin is in the house also this morning. Right, Luke McCowen. Yes, young Luke. The more I read and the more I listen to Luke, he's actually turning into a fantastic little player for us. And I know he's a Celtic fan and that, but he's going to be one that really fights for the team, isn't he? He's going to be a player, and I'm starting to get excited about the prospect of this young guy. He's not young. He's 26. Yeah, he's young. He's 26. This young lad that's came into Celtic, and I'm starting to get really excited about him. He was asked about Aberdeen. Now, we're going to be talking about Aberdeen a lot this morning because obviously we play Aberdeen in our next game. But he was asked about Aberdeen and the possibility of Aberdeen being championships contenders. And young Luke said this: "No, we're only 7 games into the season, so sadly I can't say that they are. But after 7 games, there are no title contenders. They will be saying the same, and we will take it in each game. We know we have tough games to come up, but it doesn't matter who you're playing. It's always going to be a tough game. And in this league, if you treat it any differently, you're going to get punished. It's about being aware and of having the same mentality going into every game." So he basically just knocked the sheep down a peg or two and given them a warning. Look, nothing's won in October. We've heard this before, haven't we? We've heard this before by another team that was always chasing Celtic. And it's good that he has that mentality. Is it a little bit of cockiness? Is it a little bit of cockiness knowing that ultimately Celtic are the team to beat? And I just think that I'm looking forward to see him playing tonight, because I think he will be one player that does play tonight in Ireland against Sligo. We spoke about that last night, and we'll speak about that more later today before the game is live tonight. And I don't know if I'll do a watch along for that tonight. I might not have time with the family being over. Anyway, I just think it's absolutely fantastic that Luke McCowen is getting interviewed by the media, and obviously getting asked about not getting picked for Scotland and that. But listen, there's that many quality midfield players in that Scotland. You know, I don't. He's never been too fussed about it before, and the fact that he's now at Celtic Is it only now that he's at Celtic that he's getting quizzed about not being in the Scotland team? Because I don't think he was ever quizzed about it when he was at Dundee, was he? But he said that he's completely focused on his time at Celtic, focused on his family. He's indicated that there has been a chance to represent, if there is a chance to represent his country in the future, of course he'll do it, and of course he'll honour it. But the media have always got to try and have some kind of negativity when it comes to a Celtic player. He's never been near the Scotland squad before, I don't think, and he's never been spoken about as being a Scotland player. But all of a sudden he's at Celtic, and it's like, oh, well, you're upset you're not playing for Scotland. Well, he's not done anything at Celtic yet to warrant generally getting anywhere near the Scotland setup, I would have thought. But anyway, it is the Scottish media, as you would expect. Talking about the Scotland game, he says, if it comes, I'm not really fussed about it. He says, I'm at a club this size, and it's simply not my focus, Scotland games. He says, if the Scotland manager picked me and picked up the phone and asked me to go, I'd happily go. Of course I would. I'd love to represent my country, but it's never even been spoken about. Is there time yet for me to get a Scotland call? Well, you never know. Whether it's in a few more years, might get some minutes on the pitch, but then you never know. All my focus on is Celtic. Oh, I love it. He says, I want it to be seamless transition into this team. Obviously, I know there are more minutes to come, and I've got a lot of time on my hands to do it. I know the boys in the team and the coaches and staff at Celtic are helping me every minute to get better and to get into the team. I'm starting to really like this guy, and it's when he walked into Celtic Park that dark evening at the end of the transfer window, and he walked onto the pitch. And you can't fake a smile like that. You can't fake a smile like that at all. That's a guy that was buzzing. That's the guy that was living his dream. I mean, he must have been walking about with a smile like that for about 2 weeks, just walking into training, just fuck, I'm here. Do you know what I mean? All right, just running about high-fiving everybody because I'm a Celtic player. Come on, loving it, absolutely loving it. And does anyone who's broadcasting the Skylo game? Yes, it's on the League of Ireland TV channel. Sam Mack. It's on the League of Ireland TV channel. I'm going to have to look and see if I can get it on my app on the telly. We'd like to see get his position tonight. I would like so also. Just sounds like a young man who knows the score. Grab boy, he is a young man that knows the score, but at the same time, he's one of us. Do you know what I mean? And it's great to get in a Scottish player that is one of us, obviously, for starters. But he's just living the dream, and the cockiness and the confidence that comes through in him. I want to see that onto the pitch. I want to see that onto the pitch, and I think that it's like he's living the dream at the end of the day. And I hope that I was going to say that, but I didn't want to lower the tone. It's breakfast time. But yes, he's probably been walking around with one of them since he walked through the door at Celtic Park. Like, oh, check me out. His missus is like, oh God, he's at it again, man. Absolutely brilliant. But yes, I wasn't going to say that before breakfast. Well, it is breakfast time, but yeah, you're not really meant to talk about morning glory. Yeah, that's what we could say. He's been walking around with morning glory since he walked into Celtic Park. Good morning, says Gary Haycroft. Anyway, we spoke about the young boys have sacked their manager, which could be good for Celtic. Spoke about Luke McCowen and the fact that he is completely buzzing, and his little statement to the Scottish media. Where is it again? Little statement asking if Aberdeen were title contenders. I mean, that just reads that's the words of a Celtic player that is absolutely buzzing with every single minute that he's at the club, which I just think is absolutely fantastic. And you'd be the same. You watching this, right? You would be the same if Celtic had picked up the phone and said, right, to your agent and say, like, we want to sign you, you'd be walking about like that for months. So quite right. So anyway, up and coming is the Aberdeen game. When we look at the league table, Aberdeen are sitting joint top. They're sitting on 21 points after the 7 games. Celtic sitting on the goal difference of 21. Aberdeen are sitting on the goal difference of 9, and they have won their 7 games. And that's how Luke McCowen's been asked. McCowen's been asked about, are Aberdeen genuine title contenders? Well, they're the closest thing since sliced bread to be near Celtic, really, this season. But it's a long way to go. It is a long way to go in the league. And with that Aberdeen game, there's a lot of people online complaining that it wasn't on the television. But Celtic actually turned down the TV rights. It was going to be an optional extra game. And Sky weren't due to show the game anyway. And Celtic have opted out of earning £75,000. 75 grand for Premier Sports to put the game to a Sunday, but gladly Celtic didn't take up the 75 grand. Let's face it, we don't need 75 grand, and it was an admirable stance by Celtic. Celtic have reported to have opted out of the contract of Premier Sports, meaning that any chance of the top of the table clash with Aberdeen being televised has been ruled out, and I think it's a good thing. Personally, I think it's an admirable thing for Celtic to do, because as someone that spent tens of thousands on Celtic over the years, and I still know a lot of guys that spend thousands every year going to watch Celtic. I think having the 3 o'clock kickoff at Celtic Park is something that is fantastic, because you get all the buses that get through early enough. You can go to the pubs around about Celtic Park. You meet up with guys for other buses, you meet up with other people that you know for the games, and 3 o'clock kickoff is when football should be played. And thank goodness that Celtic, and never even mind talking about the guys that come from away up north, the guys that come from down south, the guys that travel over from Ireland, and they've got to get, they're getting their buses, they're getting ferries over to Celtic Park, and it costs them a lot of money. And if it gets put to a Sunday, a lot of them can't make it, because one, there's not as many ferries on the Sunday, and the timings are generally terrible. And the last thing that you want to do is be getting home late on a Sunday night when you've got work the next day, or even worse, even staying over in Glasgow and having to take Monday off work on a sickie. But I think it's been admirable by Celtic to say, no, we're not wanting the game on television, even though it is a top-of-the-table clash. Celtic were well within the right to back fans and support fans on this case. And I think that the fact that Celtic were reluctant to inconvenience season ticket holders has got to be said is a good thing, because the season ticket holders are spending a crazy amount of money this year on merchandise, going to games. The price of, don't even get me the price of food at Celtic Park is just absolutely ridiculous. It's getting worse every year. But the SPFL commercial agreement that they knocked back, I don't care. And you're going to get fans that will say, but what about, well, people can still see the game on Celtic television. That's one thing that we're missing out. That fans outside the UK and Ireland can still see it on Celtic TV. But if you've got a Fire Stick, you'll still see it on Celtic TV. And the majority of fans that do not go to games generally have a Fire Stick anyway, and gladly watch it on Celtic TV, even though Celtic TV isn't the best. But Celtic TV did come out with a big announcement yesterday that they are bringing out another documentary. Yes, another one, just only available on Celtic TV. And it is one with their stateside trip. And it's going to show you all the behind the scenes action. And you can see the way that Celtic are going. So, 75 grand for a game to be moved to a Sunday, where you're more than likely to have a lot of empty seats due to the fact it's on the Sunday and people aren't going to travel up on the Sunday. I think that the Scottish TV, we all know that the Scottish TV deal for the SPFL was absolutely woeful. It's terrible. The guys at the top of the SPFL should have been punted long ago, because the TV deals that they keep getting in, they say, it's a big TV deal. No, it's not. Jesus, when you look at the likes of Holland, and they get 125 million TV deal a year, and Celtic are scrambling about for like 5 million or something. Don't know, it is shocking. And the fact that it is only £75,000 that Celtic would get from changing the game, and you can maybe understand that teams like Dundee and St Johnstone and that maybe think that 75,000 is important. Well, if you fill out your stadium every week, the 75 grand isn't important for the TV deal, and that's what should be pushed in Scottish football. Fill your stadiums on a 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, And the money that you get from the TV deal, especially in Scotland, is pretty much irrelevant, because I'm sure that a lot of clubs would make more than 75 grand. What they should do if they're filling their stadiums, and they should make more than 75 grand on a game day and profit. So anyway, it is good. 75k, that's shocking compared to the what leagues down south get per game. Yeah, it is, Wicks. It is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, Pork Chops Express is in the house. David Bell's in the house. Great to see Celtic knock back the TV deal. Stay at 3 p.m, says Joseph Davison. It is that. These TV companies don't commit to games well in advance. They can F off, says AR. They expect us to drop everything for the derisory amounts of cash. They've got Scottish football by the cojones. They do have Scottish football by the cojones, and it's like we're at the begging table. It's like we're at the begging table, said, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" And it's like, go and bugger off. Just get back. And I'm a firm believer that if football wants to progress in Scotland, it needs to start standing up to the TV companies, because it's the TV companies that have ultimately held back Scottish football for many, many years. And I think that is the big issue. I think that's the bigger issue. But that's not the talk for this morning. We're trying to keep this as happy as we can. I think it's on Celtic TV. I don't know if it might be on Celtic TV tonight. I'm not sure if it's on Celtic TV. It's on League of Ireland TV, so it might be on Celtic TV. Celtic haven't announced anything. Anyway, Gerald O'Neill says, "Hey, Baz, grand opportunity for Sligo Celts to see the boys play the local lads in this town this evening, and I hope you have a fantastic night. And if you're on Twitter, tag me in some of your pictures that you take at the game, or even a few videos. It would be brilliant." Anyway, Grabboy says, "Hell yes, Baz. Every single one of us would be the same if we got to do what young Luke is getting to do." Exactly, Grabboy. I mean, it would be. Do you know, if Peter Grant could get a game for Celtic, and I'm sure young Luke's way better than Peter Grant, and he's well within his right to be walking about and being as smug as anything, and especially when it comes to the media asking him crazy questions. And he's only been asked that question because he's at Celtic, and I think that it's just funny that he also talks about Aberdeen and said, "Do you think they're title contenders?" No, nobody's title contenders after 7 games. Do you know, you never know what could happen between now and the end of the season. I mean, there was a time that an old Cole was 10 points ahead of Celtic, and Celtic won the league by about 10 points. A long time ago. Anyway, that player is a fan and is just on cloud nine, says Joseph. Yes, he is. Luke is our night's captain, says Davy Hislop. Is he? It's one for the future, and there's every chance that he may be, because he's of an age where he's going to outlast a lot of Celtic players. But then again, if Tony Ralston was to up his game and go to the next level and start to get a consistent run of games, Tony Ralston has been at Celtic longer, but yeah, I'm sure that it's exciting whoever gets it in the future. I mean, we're talking about, somebody tried to slate me on Twitter for talking about that the other night, and I never said, and no point did I say that we need to drop Callum McGregor. No, I never even said that. But somebody said on Twitter that I was saying that we need to drop Callum McGregor because he's past it. He's of an age that he's past it. And I never said that. And everyone that was on the live, no, I never said that. Anyway, that's social media for you. That's why I don't really do a lot of social media, because you've got a lot of crazies out there. Joseph says it's great to have Celtic knocking back the TV deal. It's great for the fans. Serenity coming in from North London. He's saying, hail. Sky Sports needs to update as well. How long have they had Ian Crocker and Chris Boyd at Sky? It's a joke. Ian Crocker has done Scottish TV since the inception of Sky Television into Scottish football. And they don't spend any money at all. They spend hardly any money on Scottish football because they know that they get it for peanuts. They know they get it for peanuts, so they're not going to invest any money in it at all. And Wex1888 says that 75 grand is shocking compared to leagues down south per game. It is that. They're deluded across the city to think that they will be champions in May already. Really? They think they're going to be champions, even though that they're way behind us in points? I mean, can they see that? Should we make the league table bigger just for the ones that are from across the city that may be watching. I mean, they need to catch Aberdeen first of all. They need to catch Aberdeen, and that's not going to be any mighty feat. Aberdeen will drop 3 points. They'll be hoping that they win when we beat Aberdeen. But it would be interesting. It would be interesting if it was a draw. Not that I want it to be a draw. I want Celtic to go on and have some fun. How's that going away over there? Get that back up there. I'm playing ball this morning, aren't you? Anyway, yes, the game tonight. The game tonight is at 7:30, I think it is, if I remember right. But we'll talk about that later on this afternoon. I'll have it on here, actually. Greg Taylor will be out, as we know. I think there's going to be massive changes after the 2-1 win over Ross County, where we struggled against Ross County in the first half. Let's not lie about it. But we ended up winning in the end, as we do. Alistair Johnston will be out. Greg Taylor will be out. Cameron Carter-Vickers will be out. They've all dropped out of their international games. They will be... I think Cameron Carter-Vickers starts back training this week. And Alex Baye... I'm not sure if he starts or if he will head back to Spain. But Brendan Rodgers says that he hopes that Greg Taylor will be back for Aberdeen, if not long before after that. We know that Alex Baye is a young prospect player that's came through the Barcelona setup, and they expect high things of him. But I think that Scottish football, the way that Scottish football is played compared to Spanish football, I think it's going to take a lot of adjustment. And he's worthwhile having as backup, but I'm sure there could have been a left back that could have went out and bought for the money, especially the money that we're paying on his wages. So Rodgers is going to change the team tonight. I think that McCowen will get a chance, Odomone will get a chance, Welsh will get a chance as normal. Who'll be in goals? It'll probably be Scott Bain, just to give him some game time. If not, it'll be one of the younger keepers. One of the younger keepers will be on the flight over to Ireland. I don't know if it's this morning or if they flew over yesterday. I'm not sure. And then Big Rocky. Big Rocky is another player that will get some game time tonight, also, which is much needed for him. Anyway, let's jump into the comments just finally before we finish up this video. Lucky Green Man says, Baz and a joint is my breakfast. Go on yourself. And there's a few who's having the coffee, and yes. Carly's in the house just as I'm ready to jump off for today. It is quicker lives this morning because I do have family over until Friday, and then once Friday's back, we're back to doing 3 hourly shows a day. Yes, we're up in the game to 3 hourly shows, hourly lives a day on the One Celtic Fans View, just to make sure that there's a lot of competition out there, and we need to just keep on going and keep on pushing on the channel. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video this morning. Just a reminder that we are still top of... How's that turned upside down? How the hell did that manage that? There we go. It's back to normal. There we go. That was a bit freaky. Celtic are top of the table on 21 points as we head into this international break. Aberdeen are right behind us. Well, they're level with us on 21 points, but they're lacking in goals, and everyone's lacking in goals compared to Celtic. And young Luke put out the statement of all statements when asked about the Aberdeen. Can they be contenders? They said not a chance, not after 7 games. Nobody could say that they're contenders for the league after 7 games. There's a lot of football still to be played. And we're Celtic through and through. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic.